Keith, talk a little bit about the next concept, erecting scaffolding.
I think this is one of the more important observations of the book, the idea that we need to all erect scaffolding. And we define scaffolding as any resource outside your company designed to help you get your company to the next level. And frankly, you know, groups like the Renaissance Executive Forum are one of the most important forms of scaffolding we discovered. You know, we were really shocked to find that in our list of 9 companies, 4 of the 9 belong to the same executive peer group. And it's a peer group very much like the one you're involved with. So, so this idea of looking outside your own organization for answers and ideas and for perspectives is just a really compelling concept to us. You know, one of my favorite stories on this one is talking to Scott Cook, the famous founder of Intuit. And you know, Scott Cook is a brilliant guy, started a great company. Now everybody in the world wants him on their board. He's on the P&G board, he's on the eBay board, he's on the Amazon board. He's just a remarkable guy. And he said something to me our very first meeting. He said, you know, Keith, he says, everybody tries to reinvent the wheel. He says, I've always tried to find the best wheel makers and take their ideas and import them into my company. And I thought, what a great formulation for this idea of erecting scaffolding. So many of us do think that we're reinventing something in our business. And yet I would say that there's probably not an issue that any company in any of in your network has encountered that somebody else hasn't encountered. That's the power of the network. That's the power of peer groups. And so our question is, well, how can we systemize our thinking around this concept of scaffolding? What are the different forms of scaffolding? And what role can this scaffolding play in helping us get to the next level? You know, I think one of the most important roles that a peer group plays is supporting us. You know, all of us who've run a business have gone through a dark time, a time when we wondered if we were going to make it out the other end. And I tell in my book the story of Roger Staubach, when the guy was basically on paper bankrupt because of a really hard time in the apartment building business in Dallas at a certain point in his career. And if you ask Roger, how did you survive that time? He'll say, it was my forum. My forum came together. They kind of beat me across the side of the head. They got me thinking the way I needed to think to really win in that very difficult environment. So I think thinking about surrounding yourself with people smarter than yourself, or just people with different perspective, and using their brains to help you drive performance in your business is a really powerful concept.
What are some other things that these types of organizations or groups might provide?
Well, I think they provide support. I think they provide perspective. You know, we live our lives in the forest, right? We're surrounded by trees, and it really sometimes helps somebody completely unrelated to our business to come in and say, you know, I'm listening to you talk, and you know, it really sounds like you're kind of torn on this issue. And you know, it seems to me that, you know, for instance, how many times have I been in a forum meeting where a guy is talking about an employee or a member of his management team, and someone will finally just stand up and say, you know, you really don't want him on your team. And the person will often say, oh, no, I do. Ed's been with me for 15 years. I absolutely want him on my team. And the rest of the group will say, no, you don't, because every time you bring up Ed, you're frustrated. And is it time to let Ed go? You know, those kinds of perspectives can be really important. And you know, I was also struck by the idea of tools. You know, it's so often in peer groups we jump to giving somebody the answer, and what we discover is really what's far more useful is for us to share tools, for us to share our experience about how we made a decision or how we got something done. Because I can take a tool and I can use it in a lot of different settings. I can take an answer and just apply it to one particular situation. And you know, I know you guys have thought a lot about, you know, peer groups and how they help. And I was struck by the story you told me off camera about this group of top performing franchisees who meet periodically, and who said that the most important thing for them is the accountability function. Yes. You know, a group that holds you accountable to truly accomplish the goals you set out for yourself when you're doubting your ability, or you're doubting your interest or your desire, just to kind of hold your feet to the fire a bit, to me is a really important contribution of a good scaffolding.